Welcome.
Good evening. And welcome to Paperback Perspectives.
Halloween edition.
Spooky. I've come to read your books.
That was really good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
I really like doing that voice.
Are you going to do the whole podcast in that voice?
The light.
If we get one new subscriber, I will do it.
Wow,
Yep.
such big dreams.
Twist my arm.
One sponsor that will sponsor us to go to London
Yes.
On a book tour.
on a book tour.
To see all the cute little indie
Yeah,
bookshops.
DraftKings, we're waiting. BetterHelp, we're here.
BetterHelp. They're always
Yeah.
a
Greens,
podcast.
the something greens.
Yes.
The A1 or whatever they're called. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Howdy.
Welcome to Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, yes.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't realize we'd done that many.
Yeah, it's been almost like 6 months, I think. Right,
That's
Sam?
crazy.
Yeah, something like that.
6 months of pod.
Of reading.
Wow. Welcome to our spooky episode, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Very spooky
Happy
dinosaur
Halloween,
over here.
or
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos, or whatever else you are celebrating.
If you are listening, we do have some very tame costumes. Nothing wild and crazy.
Excuse
Ones
me.
which we're having a little trouble controlling.
Kaylin, you're in a...
I am a bit witchy, a bit sorcery.
Surreal.
I am going for a surreal vibe.
For those of you who have
from
read Akatar.
Akatar. I also have a shirt, Surreal Tea Co. And it says the hottest tea in Prithian. So
Love
If
it.
you know, you know.
if you've read the series, you would know. So
And Mom, you are a very anatomically and historically correct dinosaur with your tiny
Tiny
arms.
Thanks to Sam. The costume was even better on Sam, though.
It's very, very good. And I am...
It's going away now.
Oh, sad. And I'm wearing a Mike Wazowski onesie that I got a few years ago and never got the chance to wear. So we're back, baby.
all right.
Wazowski.
She is currently tangled in the
You have to tune into the YouTube just to see
face is turning red. We're starting to panic.
that. Do you want to talk first, Mom, about life updates?
Nope.
Okay. Kaylin, I think that means it's you.
I really don't have a ton of life
Have a
updates.
situation.
Okay, pay no mind to the dinosaur in the corner.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, yeah, I don't really have much for life updates. I'm trying to come up with a costume for work this week for Halloween. We're doing board game themes, so I'm thinking of doing Clue, but I have to get a little crafty. But that's okay. So I'm trying to think of that. It's still fall here. That's exciting.
Yes.
It's been feeling like fall. I love it.
Yeah, and the leaves are really pretty. We're losing them more and more, but they've been really pretty. And then Sam and I went to the movies Friday for the first time in like a year.
What movie?
We went to Conclave. It is with Ralph Fiennes.
Ray
Who-
Fiennes.
What?
Ray. That's how you pronounce his first name.
Oh. Ray
Ray Fiennes. Yep. Yeah.
Who is the actor who plays Voldemort, and he's also the head chef in The Menu, if you have seen any of those movies.
Great movie.
He is so good as Voldemort.
You'd recognize him if
You know
saw his face.
Voldemort.
No, yeah, but you
Oh.
were saying that about The Menu, and I haven't seen that movie.
Oh.
I was shaking my head that I
Gotcha.
haven't seen
I was
that.
like, you know Voldemort.
You know
I'm
Voldemort.
good.
I
Sorry.
want you to look at me when I kill you.
I do know Voldemort.
Good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
That's all. So yeah, it was that, and it's all about, which Sam and I, we are not Catholic, so we had no idea what conclave was. And so it's at the beginning of the movie, and Sam leans over and he goes, "What is conclave?" Because it says like day 1 of conclave, and we were like, we have no idea what that is.
Is that when they choose a new pope?
It is when they choose a new pope.
They put smoke up.
yes.
Ooh, read Da Vinci. No, not Da Vinci Code. The other one by who wrote Da Vinci?
Angels and Demons?
Something brown.
Yes.
Angels and Demons.
If you liked Conclave, you should read Angels and Demons
okay.
by Dan
Yep.
Brown.
Okay. Yeah, so
That's how I know
like
it.
the cardinals are all sequestered.
Stanley Tucci's in it.
Stanley Tucci is in it. It has a really
Stanley
good
Tucci.
cast. Yeah.
John Lithgow. Wow.
It's a good cast. And so all the priests are sequestered, and it's kind of all of the like politics and he said, I was going to say he said, she said, but he said, of like trying to figure out the Pope and who would be the best, and the politics and the back and forth, and they're all sequestered, so they have no access to the outside of like what's happening, which right now there's like a bunch of political unrest where they're at.
And did you
And
like it?
It was really good. It was it was simultaneously a really good plot and also like good like cinematography, like cool shots. There was cool
Beautiful
shots.
movie. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much my life update. Not a ton, but
Oh, the director of that movie also did the new redone All Quiet on the Western Front, which that movie's gorgeous. If you've seen it, it's on Netflix. Whew, it's not a fun movie, but it's a good movie.
I'm okay then.
Me too. Movies
But,
to me are like an escape. I don't want to watch something sad and depressing. And
I like
Hard.
thrillers, or like keeping me on the edge of my seat, kind of. Like, ooh, what's gonna happen?
sad war movies, not high on my list.
No, I hate them actually. So
I'm going to watch
sorry.
this movie and
Well-
everyone's going to die and it's going to be horrible. Oh, no thanks.
yay! Like,
Speaking of that, Lauren and I watched The Lion King last night, which is really dark for a kid's movie.
It's
Like
true.
the first like
the
30
live
minutes.
action or the
No, like the original
Okay.
animated one. Whew, sad.
We
Anyway.
interrupted your life update.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, that was it. I have nothing major.
Okay.
That was it.
All right.
Otherwise, I'm just working and
Read.
Living life.
reading and crafting. That's it.
Nice.
Fun. Mom, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, we've been on the road the last couple of weekends. So
You have.
we went to Minneapolis to the Minnesota Woodworkers Guild Expo 2 weekends ago and found some other fun things to do in the cities. Found a really fun place called Activate that has all these games where you go in a little room and there's like, I don't know, some you shoot baskets to answer trivia, and some, I'm not explaining it very well at all. Some of the floor is like light up different colors and you have to like move to the right color when it flashes.
We could put the little video of Dad doing
Yeah.
it on the YouTube video of him like throwing the ball at the
Yeah.
screens. We can put
So-
that in
It's
the
very
YouTube
interactive.
if
Very
you're wanting to
cool.
see.
Yeah. So that was 2 weekends ago. And then last weekend, we joined our friends from Iowa, met halfway in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is a really fun town.
And you said it's only 4 hours away.
It's 4 hours from here. And
Sorry, I'm just laughing because like here in the Midwest, we're like it's only 4 hours, and like someone from somewhere else is gonna be like 4 hours, like
oh my
that's
gosh.
so long. But we're like, yeah, 4 hours. It's like you can go there and back in a
Day
day.
trip.
it is just a really fun location. Like they have great restaurants, great drinks, great places to go and see things.
Did you ever
Oh.
find a cute bookstore?
We didn't. That was the one drawback, is we did not find a cute bookstore.
I'm sure you and Cindy were scouring.
There was a variety store. We wandered around downtown a lot on Saturday, where they had tons of cute stores and fun shops, and they had one variety store that had some books in it, but it wouldn't go in my category of cute bookstore.
Of a bookstore.
But they had a tea and spice store that was really fun. They
Did you
had,
get any tea or spice?
Yes, I got teas.
Yummy.
I know. And
I have a
we
shirt
went.
about tea.
You do. Found a fun wine bar, and then wandered to Falls Park, which doesn't have very big falls in it right now, but it's still really pretty. It's just the wrong time of year to have a lot of water flowing.
Did they fall away?
Ho ho. We could sing a song. And other than that, life update, just gearing myself up for every 7th grade teacher's favorite week of the year,
Halloween?
in which we have lots of activities going on, and it's Halloween. And just gonna
We're in a sugar high.
take deep breaths and smile and
One day closer to Thanksgiving, which is
Well, let
1
her-
week closer
let her roll.
to Christmas break.
yeah. That,
Thanksgiving's late.
I,
this year.
like those crazy
Really?
kids, so it'll be fine. Thanksgiving is the last weekend in November.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Really late.
Mm-hmm.
I have to interject. I also, my best friend also got married since the last podcast.
Kind of a big
That
deal.
is kind of a big life update.
But that was like the right away after we did
Yeah,
the
so
last
it-
one, so it kind of spaced from my head because it was
it's been a while.
yeah.
Like,
But yeah, it was in New Rockford, Cheyenne, and it was really good. I gave my speech, in which it went fine.
It was a beautiful speech. Very well done.
And yeah, it was a really nice
so
wedding. It was really
congratulations
fun.
to the lovely couple.
The Howards.
Ashley and Winston.
Woo! Yeah, so They're getting ready to move
Is that his real name or is that the fake name?
That's his fake name.
Fake name.
Okay.
His
His
real
real
name
name
is
is
Wilson.
Okay.
That's not his
Yeah.
government name.
Story for another day.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, that happened and it was good.
Ryan, did you get to do something fun this week?
I'm going to talk about that last because it's a heck of a story. So first thing that we did since the last podcast episode is we also went to that wedding, Ashley and Winston / Wilson's wedding. Very, very pretty, very, very nice, very much rural North Dakota wedding. But very
Gotta
pretty.
love those.
It was really, really cute. And then the weekend after that, Lauren and I went and visited my grandma up in Minot. And we did a tour. We went to the farm that they still have, which my great-great-great-grandfather homesteaded on. I got the whole history from my uncle, Nathan, and then we looked at family photos. So we went out to the farm and went and visited my grandpa's grave, and that was just, it's beautiful country out there. Absolutely gorgeous, like really untouched by man. It seems like just perfect, pristine fields and everything else.
Slopey hills with a little like stream at the bottom of the hills.
Literally like perfect, picturesque postcard. Wow, alliteration.
Wow. We can put a picture of that there as well.
We could.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we saw the world's largest pumpkin patch that I'm convinced is the world's largest pumpkin patch. We crested a hill to go see it, and it sprawled forever. And there was paintball at this pumpkin patch. There was laser tag at this pumpkin patch.
Did
there
you
was like a
and
golf.
Lauren and Grandma play paintball?
Lauren and I didn't, but Grandma got out there and she got right into the middle of the paintball. She was
taking people out left and right?
Yep.
She got out of the car and sprinted to the paintball
She
section.
pulled out a knife and was going after Achilles tendons.
Stop.
It was wild. No.
Stop being ridiculous.
We just walked
She listens,
around.
she's going to be mad at you.
Got a couple pumpkins. I got a red pumpkin.
Oh,
Lauren
Ryan.
got like a green pumpkin. Oh, Ryan. And that was really, really fun just to hang out with Shirley for the weekend. We really, really loved doing that. And then this last week, Lauren and I also went to the cities. It was a weird trip. It was a Wednesday, Thursday. So we left Wednesday morning and on our way to the cities, kind of hit up a little bit here and there. It's kind of like a normal city trip. But the highlight was we got to go to a concert. It's Lawrence, who I recommended, I think, in our very first podcast episode. The way that I describe it, because like the name is a little confusing, it's like Lawrence of Arabia. It's like the name Lawrence.
It's their last name, yes.
Yes, it's a brother-sister duo, Clyde and Gracie Lawrence. It's them, and they have like an 8-piece band with them, or like a 6-piece band. They have an alto, a tenor, saxophone, a trumpet, a bass, a guitar. Clyde plays keyboard the whole time.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Sorry.
All the music that they play is live. They have no backing tracks whatsoever, and so it's just like live brass, woodwind. It's
Where was it at?
amazing. It was at the Fillmore in Minneapolis.
Is that like the older building?
It's actually right next to Target Field.
Is
So-
it tall?
Yeah, it's kind of tall. It's like, you know, the steps you walk up to go in front of Target Field. Mm-hmm. It's like on the corner, like in front of those steps.
That sounds like a
interesting.
cool venue. For
Yeah,
It's
it sounds
really cool. So it was standing room only, general admission, and so so they're my favorite band of all time for perspective. We got there
5 hours early.
doors opened at 7. We got there at 6, a little bit before 6. But we were like the first like 15, 20 people in line.
Ooh.
We didn't have VIP, which we would have gotten in earlier. But
For
whatever.
anyone that knows our family, that's pretty standard.
Yeah, that's pretty
practice.
normal.
We're a little weird that way.
Little OCD manic about it. So we got there, we stood in line for a while, and then we got into the venue, and the venue's really cool. It's beautiful. You walk in, and the stage is just like right there. Like you turn right, and you're just like on the floor. So Lauren went and like kind of held our spot in the floor, like in front of the stage. I went and got some merch, and I tried to tell Lauren, who's 5'4" on a good day, to find a spot away from like tall people. And she managed to do a pretty good job of that, all things considered.
Was she standing like taking up space, waiting for you? Like, no.
Yeah, she was boxing people out. And so we actually got some really good spots, like directly center stage, about like maybe 8 or 10 rows back for people wise. And then the opener, his name was Stephen Day. He's awesome. His voice is so pure, very clear. his recordings, like on Spotify, I don't think give him like justice for how good he is. So Stephen Day, look him up. He was very, very good. And then Lawrence came on, and oh my
Did you do like
gosh, my voice, you can probably hear, is still gone from Wednesday night. It was absolutely amazing. I don't think I stopped singing and screaming the whole time.
Did you crowd surf?
I did not crowd surf.
okay.
We did have some interesting interactions with the crowd around us. At one point,
Interesting bad or interesting good?
Interesting middle ground.
Tell us about it.
at one point, a couple moved in like right in front of Lauren in like a very small, not like very small, like there was room for them, but we were purposely like giving room so like we weren't like crowding the people in front of us. And he just slid right in, and then he like started making out on her neck the whole time, like right in front of our faces. And I'm like, okay, one, gross. And she was not having it. Like she tried to like bat him away like with her ponytail or whatever, and he was just like very gross.
Ew.
And yeah,
Yucky.
I didn't like them.
Oh,
And
music
then
makes you do crazy things sometimes.
well,
Feel the music.
he was feeling something.
Ew.
Trying to.
Nice. And then so that happened or whatever, and just like you know how with if you're ever in like a standing room only crowd, you just kind of shift over time. So they kind of moved away, and like we kind of, as the music and night went on, just kind of changed places. Right as the encore happened, so they play their whole set, amazing, incredible. They leave. They had this really cool like interjection thing where they had like video boards and they had like pre-recorded videos, and their whole thing is it's called the Family Business Tour because it's the family business. They don't have like, they're all independent, like they just do it themselves. They do it their own way. And so they had these really like cheesy like 60s, 70s, 80s era like company ads kind of thing. We're like, hi, welcome to the family business, and just like really cheesy kind of stuff. And so they interjected, and they had this really cool thing where they were like, one more song, and the whole crowd got to chant. And as soon as they like start coming back out on the stage, about 4 or 5 people away from us, this lady just projectile vomits
Oh my god.
all of the alcohol.
Stop.
Oh god.
And I will say it was a pretty, like the venue was sold out. Props to everyone there, because that 10-foot circle radius just cleared out instantly.
Whoa.
Like people just moved. And so we were close enough where we didn't get hit by it too bad.
Oh
Lauren got one on her shoe.
god.
Stop.
Buy it. Don't put it that way.
Oh god.
It splashed. And then but
Stop.
there's a big hole in the audience, like a 10-foot circle, and the performers on stage, Gracie like notices what's going on, and she just goes, is everything okay? Like, is everything all right? Like, because he's like holding her up or whatever. And he's like carrying her out, and she's like, what happened? Like, everything okay? And the entire crowd just like gives a thumbs up, like, we're good. Like, she's fine. Like, she just needs to get out of here. And so they're
Was she?
Well, probably. Who knows?
Someone was taking care of her, I guess.
Yeah, someone was taking care of her. Like, she was part of a group. They got out of there. And they, at once, the entire band put 2 and 2 together about what happened, and they all just lose it and start laughing so hard. And it was just this really weird moment, because the song that they were playing, the main like phrase in the song is, it's gonna be all right. And so right as this lady's like having the worst time, it's like, it's gonna be all right. Bam. And it's very funky and it's very silly.
Oh boy.
And then one of her drunk friends in that group came in and was like, where did everybody go? And just like walks right into the circle.
Stop.
And someone had to like pull him out and be like, hey buddy, look.
Anyway, okay.
And the concert was amazing. Best concert I've ever been to.
Okay, good.
And their recommendation for the podcast episode is Tums or Pepto-Bismol or something.
Pepto-Bismol.
There could be our next sponsor that could get us to London.
Absolutely.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion,
Upset
perhaps?
stomach? I don't think she had diarrhea.
Okay, that's good. All right, moving on.
That's my life update.
All right. So we don't have guests this week. Our special feature this week is we're going to talk about our challenge we gave to ourselves to read a classic and a Stephen King horror.
I didn't read a classic. I read just a horror.
Okay. But should we do our other things we've read first and then get into that?
Sure.
Yeah, you guys go first because I only read the spooky books.
Okay. I read a lot of books this time, and I read like one of every genre.
You both did.
I don't know why that happened.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
All right. So I've been listening to audiobooks. I finished the Scottish Bookshop series by Paige Shelton, which is a cute, cozy mystery series. I read The Golden Spoon by I listened to The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell.
How did you like it? I have read this book for context.
It was all right.
It's not it looks better in the description than
Yes.
it is.
And it was okay. It wasn't like I'm not going to finish, but it also, I was kind of glad when I did finish.
Yeah. The description describes it as the Great British Baking Show meets
Clue.
Yes, Clue. And so I was like immediately like, ooh,
that's high praise.
I didn't really love most of the characters.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was okay. But then I got to the books, or getting to the books that I actually read, not listened to. I had last time mentioned that I was fighting my way through Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, and I finished it, and it did end. The last part was good. It picked up and things went well in the last part. It was I was disappointed overall by the book. I would call it mystery / a little bit of fantasy in the form of like obviously spells, since it's called Spells for Forgetting, which factors into it. Wouldn't be on my highly recommended list. I give it a meh. Okay.
So if it's on your shelf and there's other ones you're wanting to read, maybe do the other ones
Yeah,
first.
maybe. It sounds so good.
Have you read this one, Kay?
No.
Okay.
She was with me when I bought it, though,
Yes.
and we were both excited. I'd say pass.
Okay.
Then I read on my Kindle Murder on the Golden Arrow by Magda Alexander, which was a classic kind of cozy mystery, historical fiction taking place in early 1900s. It was cute. It was a cute book. Nothing deep, nothing crazy, but cute. I finished, Kaylin's going to smile, House on the Cerulean Sea, which was very cute and very sweet.
Cute.
And if you need a book that just makes your heart happy,
Like my cheeks hurt when I was
it's a
reading
happy
it.
book. The characters, like if we could have dressed up as the characters in this book, that would have been adorable.
Yes.
I don't know how you dress as a blob, but
I call the blob. I call Chauncey.
you need a little bellhop. and
Yes.
It was adorable.
Did it kind of make your teacher heart happy?
It did.
Having like all those little weirdos. Just
Yeah.
like,
They're all seventh
I
graders.
love little
It's pretty
weirdos.
much seventh
I'm
graders.
going to gut you with my shovel.
What?
But not really.
But not really.
Not really. It's really cute.
It's so cute. It's
and he
just
writes
like,
so well.
he
Like I
does.
really liked the way he wrote.
it's very descriptive, and I feel like it wouldn't be as successful if his writing wasn't as good as it is.
I agree. So
It's-
don't read the end.
No, I'm
Right.
reading the acknowledgments.
Oh, okay. Phew.
It's
Yeah.
if you just want to be happy, read that book.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Definitely.
I just totally took over.
I knew you would. Then I read a book on the recommendation of my librarian at school called Bluebird by Sharon Cameron. Historical fiction. So good. Definitely a recommend on that one. It is based post World War II from the perspective of a girl from Germany who was a faithful part of Nazi culture, not by her choice, but because she'd been literally brainwashed with the propaganda and through her family, and has found out that her father did horrible, awful things as a doctor in a concentration camp. And she is on a mission to redeem herself and get justice for her.
Who wrote it?
For the people.
Sorry.
Sharon Cameron.
Definitely adding that to the list. That sounds
So
really
good.
good.
So good.
And you got that
Like-
from your school library?
Yeah.
Cool.
I like historical fiction. I like that time period. This perspective was really interesting to me because I've never read one from that perspective. And
It'd be really interesting to like see that perspective of like a family member learning later on in life of the things and like how
yeah.
that would affect
yeah.
like your viewpoint of that person. Because like you grow up and like you said it was her dad. Like your dad is your dad, and so like it's a very unique perspective. And then
And
all of a sudden your
there's some,
entire world changes.
Little mystery that works its way in there and determining how, like what actually had happened and how she ended up where she was.
Okay.
And
So
then
how old is she when she's like?
I would, I don't know that it was explicit in that, but I would say 1920,
Okay.
1920, like late teens, early 20s. So there's a little romance that happens too in it, but that's not the feature of the book. You know,
Just like a coming of age kind of thing,
Yeah.
trying to figure out who you are in the
Yep.
world, who your family is.
and if you can overcome that to become your own person, despite where you came from.
Okay.
Which then my last one that I have is this one, The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katerina Bavald, which is a just fiction, I guess realistic fiction, you would say, story about a lady from Sweden who's pen pals with an older lady from Broken Wheel, Iowa, who they've been pen pals and shared books, and she's coming to visit her. And when she gets to the little town to visit her, there's nobody around, and she discovers they're all at the funeral for the lady she was coming to visit.
No!
And that's like the first chapter. And from there, it goes on. The people in the town kind of take her in, and she stays in Broken Wheel. And it's a story of figuring out where you belong. And there's a good story of hope. And when you said that about the Cerulean Sea, so she opens kind of a lending library / bookstore of the books of the lady she went to visit had all these books. And so she needs something to do. And she puts them in interesting categories. And her favorite, or maybe it was my favorite, was Happy Endings When You Need Them. She makes a shelf of books that's happy endings when you need them. So that made me think of it. And you know, it was a little slow maybe in the beginning, but then it was just a really cute story and really sweet.
How old are the characters? Like,
I would guess 30s.
okay.
Or is the main character who comes there, and then there's a range of people in the town with unique characteristics and a whole range of ages and interests, and yeah.
Cute. Do you own this book?
I do own this book.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to read it.
Sounds good.
It came from one of the bookstores we recommended on an earlier episode. I can't remember if it's from Main Street Books in Minot or Wildflower Books in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, because we'd visited both close together, and I can't remember. It's from one of those. I think Grand Rapids.
Cute.
So it was a cute book. So, those were mine. Not my spooky ones, but my other ones.
Are you reading any right now?
No, because I finished that in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right.
2:30 a.m. when I couldn't sleep, I got up and finished that book.
Do you have an idea of what book you're going to read next?
No, I haven't picked one out from my shelf yet.
That's exciting.
I know.
Very exciting.
Any recommendations from the listeners? Leave a comment.
Yeah, because it's not like I don't have a giant shelf full of books to read. So if someone wants to throw a new one in there, I'll jump right onto that.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Or maybe someone will recommend one you have on your shelf, and that'll like clinch it for you.
that might do it. That might do
There
it.
you go.
Kaylin.
So I have actually been very on theme with my reading for all things. So not just our challenge, but I've also been doing just like all fall themed books. Kind of on purpose, kind of not. Like it just kind of was what I was gravitating towards, I guess. The first one I read was, I talked about it last time, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. That one was on audio. Kind of in similar Agatha books, it had a slower start, but then picks up, and then you kind of get more into it and you figure out the characters and trying to kind of...
So many of her books, I feel like the first third are just describing characters.
Yes. And like the place and what's going on in the dynamics between characters. So yeah, it's kind of just very Agatha style of slow start, but really good finish. I really liked finding out who did it. It was a really good one that was like,
Oh, I don't remember, so no spoilers.
No, I won't. It's just that was a good...
Was it the poison?
Kind
Don't
of.
tell.
Kind of. Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
How do you kind of poison?
I think I have that on my shelf, not my to be read shelf.
Kind of poison?
Shh. Oh, sorry. We don't talk about the poison.
Dad, don't listen to this episode.
Kidding. We're kidding.
Yeah.
I was just going to say we've been very serious this episode, so good work there.
Thanks.
Okay. Murder of Roger Ackroyd.
It was really good. So it would be one that you could read just like super fast if you were wanting to like refresh your brain on.
It's been a long time
on
since I read
Agatha's
that one.
silliness. I think it is the second one in the Hercule Poirot Just a little funny part of the book, if you've read any Hercule Poirot or seen the movies, I just love how Agatha always calls him the little man.
Fussy, and sometimes it's the fussy little man. With his egg-shaped head.
Egg-shaped head.
I don't know that Agatha was really big on men. She was sort of a man-hater.
Yeah, she was. I thought it was funny at the beginning of this book. It's not really a spoiler. It's just kind of a funny little thing. So, all of her books with Hercule are from other people's perspective, and they're seeing Hercule Poirot, so it's not his perspective. And they call him Poirot at the beginning of the book because he's just this foreigner that's staying in this place. And they think that he is a beautician because of his mustache. I thought that was really funny. So yeah, that one was really good. And then I read The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. I featured this one on our beginning lines last time.
Is this the airport book?
This is the airport book, yes. The one I needed to make me happy. This was the line that said, "Never mix vodka and witchcraft." Oh. It's just a cute little story that has a little bit of witchery, but it's just a cute little romance. It is by, I don't know if I said it's by Aaron Sterling. Then I'll leave the other two because those two are the spooky ones.
Well, you can go for it because I don't have any. I only read spooky books, so you can go right into the spooky books if you want.
I have a little rant when we get to spooky books.
We'll leave you for the end.
Okay, maybe I'll just do my current reads and we'll go to spooky next.
That works.
Right now I'm still trying to get through Shadow of Night. I really like the series. It's just I have been doing other things with rather than physical books, I've been doing a lot more of audio and getting the house in order and stuff. So I'm working on it.
There's no obligation here.
We don't read shame.
I think it's partly the fact that I have it checked out from the library and I know I have a deadline and I get weird with deadlines.
Yep.
So, but yeah, working on it. And then right now, in Libro.fm, I believe is the app I'm using for the audiobook I'm reading now. It is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. It is a paranormal book, which I don't normally partake in. But since it is witchy season, I chose to go for it. And it's actually good. So it's a dual time perspective. So her family got famous because they had moved into a house that ended up being haunted with a question mark at the end. Because we don't know if it's really haunted. Anyways, so her dad then wrote a book about it, and that book blew up. And so she's famous, and this house is famous. It's called the House of Horrors. And
bit on the nose,
right? Yeah. And so her dad dies. She has no idea what's true. Her parents are always so weird about this house and not saying what actually happened. She's skeptical. She doesn't believe that it's actually haunted. When her dad dies, she finds out he never sold the house. He still has the house. So she is an interior designer. She wants to go fix it up and sell it. And so it's kind of it's the perspective of reading her dad's book about what happened when they were at the house and then her there now and her experiences she's having. So it's kind of comparing the two and trying to figure out what's real and what's not. And yeah, so it's kind of paranormal, kind of not. And you kind of go back and forth and being well, that was weird. And how did that happen?
Do you find yourself trying to find real ways that these things could have happened?
Yeah. And because I have such a non-paranormal brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be kind of those weird little situations that you're okay, I don't believe that's a ghost. I feel like somebody could have done that.
Yeah.
And how, but you don't know how, and yeah.
Do you, Kaylin, believe in ghosts?
I would say that I believe in, I don't want to say spirits, but those situations where you are at a funeral or someone just died recently and they have an animal that's representation of them and then you see them.
Signs.
Yeah, I believe in that. Angels, I guess, would be the word more than that. But, that kind of, it's not ghosts as much.
Right.
So we'll say angels.
That makes sense. Kind of on that vein, when we visited Grandpa's grave, Grandpa never got to meet Lauren. He died before Lauren and I started dating, and when we were there, we were looking at his grave and kind of wandering around the rest of the cemetery there, and a little garter snake went right by Lauren's foot and kind of made her go like, ah! And then I was a little bit away from them, and then I saw another snake, and he was just looking directly at me, like in my face, and kind of flicking his tongue. And I was like, that's Grandpa. Grandpa would have definitely played a trick on Lauren to say like, hello.
He also hated snakes.
Which I think would also be very funny if he was like, I'm going to send a snake. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's my stance on ghosts, paranormal
do you believe in
situations.
ghosts?
I would agree with Kaylin that I think there's some spiritual connections, maybe like more of an angel's signs,
Mm-hmm.
but not the paranormal ghosts.
Right.
And I don't think that.
I'm in the same way. I very much believe in like the spiritual side, like the science and things. But also it's kind of the same way I view aliens. Like there's no way that we can prove that they don't exist. So they kind of feel like they kind of
Hear me out.
do some way. Aliens.
It was aliens.
Not saying it was aliens.
Yeah.
I'm a very logical person, so in my brain I'm like, no. But then
Yeah,
my
same.
logical side is
Yeah.
always like, well, you can't prove that they don't definitively, so it's like, maybe. But I like to think that they don't. Anyway.
Supposedly, my hospital that I work at, which I believe has been in existence for a really long time. I think the 1800s.
Wow.
I think. Sam, you want to Google when NDHC was founded? It's on their website. Supposedly, it's haunted.
I have heard you tell that story before, like
Yeah.
the basement and like some of the other storage areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's been like several accounts by several different people.
Yeah, you have to write a book.
But I mean, if you're going to have a place that's haunted, I feel like a hospital would be the place to be haunted.
It's a good place.
120 years.
120 years.
1904.
So,
Wow.
oh, I was close. So,
Wow.
yeah. Anyways, that was a long tangent somewhere
Do
else.
you believe in ghosts? Comment below. You're really
Wow,
trying
you're
to
really
drive up
plugging the-
engagement today.
Yeah.
Yeah, comment boo if you believe in it.
And comment boo if you don't, because you're booing us.
Yeah, if you don't like this episode, just go boo.
We have now lost 80% of the people who
Oh,
started
no.
listening.
No, we're going to go back to books right now, I promise.
Quick, talk about a book.
You should do your spookies and
Yeah.
we'll go down. Do you want to go like do the round of Stephen King or the round of horror, like one at a time each? Or do you like.
I'm gonna have a lot more to say about my Stephen King than I will about my.
Let's do
classic
our horror ones and
Okay.
then we'll go wrap around to Stephen King. Because I
Okay.
feel like we'll have more to say about
Okay.
Stephen King.
So for my like classic horror, I chose Frankenstein or The Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. That's the actual title of it.
Really?
Yeah, Frankenstein or The Modern Prometheus is the actual title of it.
I never knew that.
Fun fact. And is that the book, Kaylin, where they go in time?
Yes.
You're going to read about Mary Shelley as a character.
Ooh, that's fun.
So I am actually gonna begin this like recap of this book with a question. When you think of Frankenstein, what do you think of? Like the first thing that comes to your mind?
The hulky looking guy with the bolt sticking out of
Yep.
his head.
Okay. Is he
Like the one from the cereal commercial.
Yeah.
When you picture him, is he like a smart, eloquent person, or is he just kind of a slow, blubbering like?
That's second.
Master. Like that.
Yeah. The chapter I'm currently in. So full disclosure, I'm only halfway done. I couldn't get through all of it fast enough because it was written in the 1800s, and it's so hard to get through.
I had the same experience.
So like, I'm just gonna try to find a sentence here to kind of give you an idea of what I'm working with.
Was it a lot of Googling words?
My cheek had grown pale with study, and my person had become emaciated with confinement. Sometimes on the very brink of certainty, I failed, yet still I clung to the hope of the next day. And it's just like, ugh, very wordy. And it's like, oh my God, Mary, like get to the point. But also it's like, it's how she wrote it at the time. She's only 18 when she wrote this book, by the way.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. But it's not the type of story that I was very much on your guys' same page of like Frankenstein is like, he's this massive creature, is very kind of dull and not very bright, and kind of moves slowly. No, I'm in the middle of a 40-page like chapter right now, or section, where Frankenstein's monster is going through like his life. and he's talking very eloquently.
Is it still the story of someone died and someone brought someone back to life?
So no, it's
What?
actually not.
Oh, we were way
so-
off.
Yeah.
It happened. So the way that the book opens, there's this random guy who is out in like the Arctic or something, searching for something. I'm like, oh, okay, like this is Mr. Frankenstein. No, he's just a random dude who is here for like 5 chapters to set up the meeting of Frankenstein. So they're at, he's like stuck in the ice in a ship, and he sees off in the distance this massive like humanoid figure riding like a dog sled across the ice. And everyone's like, whoa, that's weird. Must have been a vision, because he was like 8 feet tall or whatever like that. And
Didn't know it. The Arctic was involved. In
yeah,
it.
and then a couple days later, he comes across Victor Frankenstein, the person who's like on another sled, like freezing to death, almost dying. And he's like, what's going on with you, dude? And he like, Frankenstein won't talk about it for another like 5-6 chapters. And you're like, okay,
I'm not feeling like you're in
get
love
to the
with this book.
monster. And then so the main part of the story is Victor Frankenstein telling his life story to this random sailor person. And so he recounts how he was into like the older style, like Greek and like Roman sciences of like different types of blood in your body and like reanimating corpses, kind of like alchemy style things, like creating something out of nothing.
Okay.
And which is like scientifically proven false. Like you can't do that. But in like the book, that's like, what if you could? And so then Frankenstein is obsessed with this. He becomes like so obsessed with this. Like it takes him like 6 years. He won't, like he doesn't eat. He doesn't like, he grows like thin and pale because he's so obsessed with this project.
Pale cheeks and emaciated.
Exactly.
So you're saying the Gene Wilder young Frankenstein version is not accurate? Okay,
so
just to clarify.
He creates this monster.
I think I like that one better.
And yeah, I do too. He creates this monster and freaks out. He's like, what have I done? And he runs away.
So Frankenstein isn't the monster. Frankenstein makes the monster?
Yeah. Frankenstein is the scientist. Frankenstein's monster is the monster.
He doesn't even give him his own name?
No, not at where I'm at anyways. I'm halfway through. And so he freaks out, he runs away and just like leaves with this, creating this, like, I'm assuming like 8 foot tall beast. Cause he creates, like he says he wants to be like bigger, better than everyone else. And he just like, they just like, don't worry about the monster for a while, and then he's like off in the mountains and he's super sad and like depressed because he's like, my life is like blah, blah, blah. I don't like Frankenstein. And he's like off in the wilderness.
Summary.
And he sees like
not recommending.
he sees like a 10 foot tall beast sprinting toward him at like inhuman speed, which I'm like, okay, that's not Frankenstein. Frankenstein is like but he gets up to him, and then they have this like super long conversation about like Frankenstein learning like what the world is about and developing senses and having to like learn how to like be alive, and it's weird.
So we're not given the most glowing review of Frankenstein.
I just think I would like it better if it wasn't written in such classic English, like old Englishy language, which I think
I can follow
Yeah.
right up with that and say I read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson
When was that one written?
sometime when they wrote like that.
Sam, would you check?
It is also written in like the old English verbiage, very wordy. I have a confession. I didn't actually read the whole thing. I skimmed and then I read the summary on Wikipedia because I hated it.
Well, I'm happy with my choice, so...
I did not.
Sorry to interrupt. It says it was originally published in 1886.
Yep. So I think this was 1870. So it'd be right around the same
Yeah.
time.
So
Yeah. Oof.
Can you give the general story of like what it is about, the Jekyll and
yeah, I can. I got that much from my summary.
SparkNotes did a good job.
So
Do you feel like you're
it's
like back
actually
in
there's
school?
some kind of similarities here. Yeah, under pressure. If you really know the story in detail and I get it wrong,
Sorry.
comment below.
Go adjust the Wikipedia page.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
So kind of a similar story. There's this well-respected, I don't think he's a scientist. They don't really say what kind of scientist, this well-respected man who has all these well-respected friends. And it tells his story. And then a little later on, then as you go into it, these horrible crimes start happening where this deformed, scary-looking, evil...
Is this the like hunchbacky guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Evil man is doing horrible things, like really bad, icky things. And... It kind of comes down to the story of it's actually him, and he's supposedly been taking or using these potions that he as a scientist has developed that allow you to operate without conscience and conscious and do the things that you wouldn't normally do. And because his friends don't want to see that it's him, it's kind of one of those like, oh, look at Superman going into the box into the phone booth, taking off his glasses and coming out. We didn't know it was you.
Oh.
It's kind of one of those. The friends are like, oh, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be you.
Oh, okay.
And really a story of good versus evil and what happens when you let yourself be without morals and conscious.
See, I feel like you did a better...
I keep saying that wrong.
Consciousness.
I feel like you did a better job of explaining this than maybe the book did itself with like classic English. So I feel like you did a really good job of being like, this is the moral of the story.
I read a few summaries.
Yeah.
Can I say more than I read the book? So I was kind of hoping to really like it, but I didn't.
Sorry, I was wrong. Frankenstein was originally written in 1818, and then she put out a revised version of 1831, which I think this is the revised 1831
wow.
one.
Yeah, I don't know that mine was as the old English as yours, but I didn't like it.
So I was not excited to read a classic, so I didn't.
Good choice.
Yeah.
So let's see. We tried to make ourselves, and we haven't finished for Ryan.
Yep.
I quit, skimmed, and summarized, and Kaylin just skipped. So we
just
have all variety of avoiding this task.
Because I just know I don't do well with like classic English. Like at first I was hesitant to start Agatha Christie even because I was like, I don't know if I'll like her writing, but actually hers is not. It's
just a few British terms that we're
British
not familiar,
terms,
but not that verbiage.
Yeah, exactly. But so I chose not to do a classic.
Good
so
for
I
you.
did a current horror/thriller that I've been like hearing about and seeing. So it is called The Chain by Adrian McKinty, and I read this on audio. Ooh, I was stressed reading this book. Like
Lauren's mom read it and she was so excited to hear your take on it because she had the exact same reaction as you did. She's like, I am so just like on edge the whole time.
Stressed out. Like,
Are you done with it?
yes, I am. So like I said, I did it on audio. Oh my goodness. Like if you're looking for a book to give you like the emotions of like stress or peril or like, well, but you know when writing is so good that it makes you feel something and makes you feel like you're in the situation? Like that is this book.
Who is the author?
Adrian McKinty.
Okay.
So the premise of the book, I don't know if I've explained this in the past episodes if I was reading it or not, but I'll just go into it again.
Yeah.
So this lady is going about her life. She is a breast cancer survivor, but just heard from her doctor that her labs were looking a little off. And so her breast cancer may or may not be coming back. And she gets this call, and on the call, the person on the other end says, "You are not the first and you will not be the last," and starts talking about the chain. Her daughter has been kidnapped.
How old is her daughter?
Ooh.
Like a child or an adult?
12, 13.
Okay.
So young, 10 maybe. And so the person on the other end is also a mom, and she gives her instructions. She has to do two things for her to get her daughter back. She has to pay a ransom of blank sum, and then she also has to kidnap somebody else's kid.
Oh my God.
To get her kid back. And then the family that she kidnaps their kid of, they have to kidnap somebody else's to get theirs
And pay
back.
the ransom. So it's this.
So you can see how it's the chain. And so like the thing about it that makes you so on edge and freaked out and makes it the most like thrilling is how well it works and how like you can see how it's like how you get trapped into this train. Like it's like it could be real. That's what makes it freaky. So it's like, how did this author think of this? First of all,
I was just thinking that same thing. Like sometimes authors, I'm just like, what goes on in your head?
Exactly. Yeah. And so the whole story is her like researching other families to like what kid to kidnap, figuring out ransom.
And isn't it you have to do it within a certain time?
Well, you want to do it faster than
because you want your kid back.
Because they're also kidnapped. So like we get perspective of her daughter who's kidnapped. We get perspective from her who's trying to figure this out, and like kind of goes back and forth.
So did you like this book?
I did actually. Okay. I thought
this is a recommend.
It is, yeah. If you like that kind of
trigger warnings.
Yeah, if you like that kind of on the edge of your seat, like no, I'm not recommending it to you. No. I'm recommending it to somebody who likes that, like
thriller.
Like I am on the edge of my seat. I feel stressed and and then like we'll say puppet masters like to change the rules too.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it is good.
Are you gonna do a spoiler and tell us how it ends?
I don't think I should.
I don't think you should.
Can you tell me after the podcast?
Yes, I can. Yes.
No, you have to read it.
I am not reading it.
Yes, I can.
I read little happy books with happy endings for when you need it.
I read a little of both.
Yeah.
So I would read The House in the Cerulean Sea after this one.
That's a good point.
There you go.
Yes. So that was my horror. Do you want me to go to my Stephen King?
Yeah, go for it.
My Stephen King, I read Misery via audio by Stephen King. The premise of this one is it's a writer who was in a major car accident. The beginning of the book, I had no idea what was going on. I was very confused, and I think it was supposed to be that way. It might not have been as confusing if it wasn't audio, if I could see the
words.
Yeah,
and like how it was laid out. No, I mean like dialogue.
Sometimes they'll like italicize and then not, and so you can
I totally
tell.
get what you're saying.
So I think it maybe would have been better physical to start, but I ended up figuring it out. And so this guy gets in a car accident in rural Colorado, which it was kind of spooky because I was reading the audiobook on my way back from New Rockford, Cheyenne. So it was in rural North Dakota, and I was like, this could be me. And then I hit a raccoon.
And it was like pitch dark and at night.
It was so dark. It was like midnight, I think. And yeah, I smoked a raccoon, and I was like, that could have been me. The raccoon is not okay.
Kathy Bates, where are you?
Yeah. So then he wakes up from this car accident he's like kind of in this drug-induced state. He has an IV in his arm, but realizes he's not in a hospital. He's just in this bedroom. And then when he kind of gets more out of the drug-induced state, his legs are smashed. They are just destroyed from the car accident. They're like jankily put together with splints, and like he's in like so much pain like throughout the book. It's like that's a theme, is he's always in pain because his legs are destroyed. And he meets Annie Wilkes, and Annie Wilkes is the person who found him in his car accident and brought him home instead of to the hospital. Annie Wilkes is an ex-nurse, we find out. It's not like a spoiler.
Hence the IV.
Yes. But she was like discharged from nursing for a reason that we don't know until later in the book. But we do know she was on trial. So something
bad,
not
happened.
good we know something not good.
Something not good.
And she crazy. She crazy. And so he's locked in this room. And she's very manic. She goes into episodes of like, I love you, and I'm like so happy I brought you home because you're like my pet.
Is he an author?
Yes.
Okay, and she was like a fan.
Have you seen the movie?
No, I want to. So there is a movie with
curious to see how the
Kathy
movie
Bates
compared
and
to the
James
book.
Caan. And when I was reading the book, I didn't know there was a movie. And when I was reading it, my brain just automatically placed Kathy Bates in the role of Annie Wilkes.
I wonder if you've seen, like, without thinking about it, like clips or
I don't
highlights
think
or
so
something.
because
I don't think so.
I think she's really well known for that role. Like,
Yeah,
she
that's kind of what-
established herself
yeah.
by that role.
but also like I've seen Kathy Bates in lots of other things, so I know
I like her.
like what her acting is and what she can do. And I'm like, the way the narrator of the audiobook too, I was like, that is Kathy Bates. Like that has to be. And then I looked it up and I was like, whoa, it is.
That's cool.
It is.
Ooh, it was good. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you read more Stephen King books?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
My Stephen King book was The Shining. And I went into it having seen the movie probably like when I was in high school, like 10 years ago or so, over 10 years ago. But I'd never read the book, and I'd heard such good things about the book. But I'd also heard from Tom, who we had on a couple episodes ago, that the book is very different from the movie. And so I went in knowing a little bit. Red Rum.
Is that part of the book?
That is part of the book.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the like two things that are the same in the book.
Oh, okay.
So the book, I'll just start with the book before I get into the movie. The book does a great job of building suspense and creating character. I actually was reading this at the same time. I read it, and then one of my other former coworkers at Central also read the book. And so we were kind of bouncing back and forth, and we both agreed that the characters are just so real. Like you can feel the characters. So the main character is Jack Torrance. He's an author. He's a former professor, and he's a failed professor.
Isn't Jack Nicholson the main?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. The main character is Jack, and
Yep.
Jack Nicholson plays Jack. That's interesting. Okay,
Jack is Jack.
So
crazy,
he's,
sorry.
and I don't remember all the details of the movie because I haven't seen it in over 10 years, like I said, but he's
movie.
a failed author.
We need to do a movie-a-thon.
I think so. That'd be awesome.
I'm out.
You have to be there. You have to bring donuts.
I'll drop off donuts and then I'm leaving.
So he's a failed author, failed professor. He's an alcoholic. He's just like a real piece of shit human being, honestly. And he's married to Wendy, who they got married young, and she's kind of stuck in this marriage with him. And they're both miserable. He's done horrible things. She hates him. And they have a son, Danny. Danny, who is 5, I think, in the book. He is incredibly smart, very, very like intuitive. And then you learn later that he has an ability called the shining. Like it's called like when people shine. And so other people who shine can like see other people who shine. Like you can kind of like feel it. Kind of thing. And when they go to the Overlook Hotel, which is in rural Colorado,
Whoa!
it's in the mountains of Colorado.
Is he from Colorado?
He's from Maine.
Oh, well, okay.
Most of his books actually take place in Maine. So I don't know why this is Colorado.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's kind of known for the Maine thing. Anyway, so they go to this hotel, but the hotel has this like checkered past and weird history. And so he goes up there. Jack is going to be the caretaker all winter long. And the hotel is closed in the winter, but they need a caretaker. It's closed in the winter because all of the snow that they get closes off the road. So they're up there alone with like no connection to the outside world. And so it's Jack, Wendy, and Danny in this hotel all by themselves. And I don't want to give away too much. I loved the building of suspense in this book and the forebodingness of it. And you could just feel, just like you said with the change, just kind of like the stress and just like a lot of like, what is going on? Because you know where it goes, right? It's a Stephen King book. Something bad's going to happen. And just
Not the book of happy endings.
Not the book of
no.
happy endings, but it builds and builds and builds. And if you have seen the movie and you're like, I don't need to read the book, please read the book. The ending is completely different. The characters, like there's a character in the book that's not in the movie that completely changes the book or completely changes, the story.
So in my Stephen King, it was kind of a theme of like a roll, like, so we would go like up the hill and we're like, okay, things are actually okay. And I'm like, okay, things are looking good. And then we crash at the bottom of the hill and we're like, we're not good. Is it like that?
So Jack, who I said he's an alcoholic, he hadn't had a drink in a long time, but he starts to get these habits back from when he did drink. Like he would always like wipe his lips with a handkerchief kind of thing. And he would get like a little bit more irritable. He hadn't had a drink in a while. Still not drinking, but these habits are coming back. And then you start to like see like, oh no, like he's going into it. He's going
Oh
in.
no.
And then at a time you're like, okay, things are better. Like he's recognizing it. He's conscious of it. And then something happens and then it's just like, yeah.
So you keep getting these moments of like, ooh, we're figuring
Maybe.
it out.
And then at the very end, there's this moment, and Nick, who's the teacher who was reading it with me, he had the exact same thing that I did. There's this moment where you're like, no, no, no. And it's just like, oh, the way that Stephen King writes is so enrapturing to me. Ooh. I loved it.
So you will read more
I will
of those
absolutely
books.
be reading more Stephen King books.
All right.
The cover's falling off, so just be careful. I had to tape it. It's a thrift books.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, I loved it.
Would you like to borrow it, Mom?
No. I'm going to ruin the Stephen King party.
Oh my God.
It's okay.
I didn't love it. I didn't like it. I hated it.
And you read...
Okay, I started out trying to read Salem's Lot.
Trying to read?
Hated it.
Can you kind of give like what is, I don't know, Salem's Lot?
It's
No.
witchy, isn't it?
It's icky and it's witchy, and no, I didn't even get far enough to like it. I didn't like the way it was written. I didn't like the characters, so I switched.
But there is witches? Is that like...
I don't know.
How much did you read?
Did you read a page?
Did you read a chapter?
The back of the book?
Do you know it was written by Stephen King?
I tried it as audiobook, and I just could not.
How many
into it.
minutes did you listen to it?
I don't know. 11. I don't know.
11 minutes? Mom!
I read another one. Relax.
Another Stephen King?
Hey, what happened to we don't book shame here? What happened to we don't read shame, Ryan?
I'm people shaming. I'm not book shaming.
Okay. I'm being shamed publicly here. Then
It's okay. We forced her to read a genre she hates.
We
So.
did. That's true.
So I went to my library at school thinking maybe they'd have less nasty ones because I work in a middle school.
How nasty could it be in 11 minutes?
Now I want to read this.
Yeah.
I found The Body by Stephen King.
We're reading this book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The Body by Stephen King.
Okay.
Which after I started reading, it was okay. It was more of like a coming of age story, and there were kids, and then
Boring.
it turns
No, I'm
out
just kidding.
it is the book that Stand By Me is based on.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a movie from
okay.
the
80s?
80s. Stand By Me, like,
Very famous.
yeah. Bunch of famous
Josh Brolin.
the 80s Rat Pack kind of people in it.
Yeah. Will Wheaton's in it.
Yep.
Shout out nerds.
And it's a group of kids and the story of their life, and they learn that
Big Bang Theory, who can't do the O's. Is that Will Wheaton?
no.
No, that's Barry Kripke. Will Wheaton plays himself in Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they learn in the story that there's this big train bridge that's a famous scene in the movie,
Never heard of it.
and the train has supposedly hit
Jerry O'Connell.
a body or hit somebody they
Jerry
think, and then
O'Connell.
this person is missing. So they decide this group of kids is going to go out and they're going to be heroes by finding the body.
Oh.
And they go through. There's also another group that's kind of the gang of the older kids that they're trying to beat there, and some very descriptive, gross things happen on the way there with leeches and swamps.
Okay, so if you're getting freaked out by leeches, you are not a
They
Stephen
found
King
this stupid
person.
body and it sucks. And
Stephen King is not for you.
no. So it brought me back. Like, I'm just going to have a little rant here to 13-year-old me feeling peer pressured and forced. And this is a little shout out to the people of my generation who listen to our podcast. So Carrie, Carla, Tracy, maybe Sarah she might have avoided this by being not quite our same age, but who were forced through peer pressure to read Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews because it was like a rite of passage of everybody in that time, and hated it all the way through, but felt the need to read the whole series. And now I felt like, it's still just as horrible. I don't ever want to read this kind of reading.
So you liked it?
End of rant. So,
Oh,
done.
no, you shouldn't read any more Stephen King.
Okay. I
Mine
won't.
had to do with an axe and lots of chopping of things.
Mine was actually not very violent. Mine was very psychological.
Mine was psychological and a bit
Violent.
He lost some parts.
So anyway, next Halloween, I vote that you two can read the spooky things,
Why don't you read like
The
this?
XX.
and
Yeah.
I will read ones
There's
like
also the Kiss
XX.
Curse.
I will read
and-
that kind of
Yeah.
spooky book.
There you go. Or you can read like The Discovery of Witches.
I love that
or,
series.
Like, yeah.
Love that
Yeah.
series.
There-
So we will not force you to read anything.
Thank you.
We love that you tried. That was great.
I tried for 11 minutes.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Quick recommendations because we're over time, I think. Who wants to go first?
Last time we kind of did a shout out to the library, but I'm going to do it again because I went to the East Grand Forks Library because Sam and I live in East Grand Forks. And it's
Campbell
the East
Library?
Grand Forks Campbell Library. And they have the most adorable library, but one thing that I thought was super cool, I didn't know libraries did, they have a thing called Library of Things. Have you seen that
No.
before? So they have little tubs there that you can check out for, I think it's a week or two. I think it's a week. And they have like all the things in it that you need to do certain things. So they have like electronic kits. They have like if you want to make stamp cookies, they had like rocket ship cookies. There's like how to make.
That's super cool.
And so they have all the like things you need to make, like not ingredients, but they
No,
have like
the
all
tools.
the tools you need
Yeah.
to make it. And so you can check out those bins.
Did you check
And
one out?
We didn't because we were just browsing the,
timing wasn't
library,
right,
but I want to in the future because it's so cool. And so you just take home the whole bin. There was other things besides baking. I think she said there was like circuit kits too.
What if we did like a YouTube exclusive where we like filmed us like doing these kits?
Yeah, there you go.
Just like support the library. That'd be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
So I was like, that is so cool that they have that library of things, like especially for, kids who want to try something new, but
Yeah.
then don't need to buy
Or adults.
But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like then parents don't need to buy all these things. And
That's really
but,
cool.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool.
All right, Ryan.
I have two. My first one is Abigail's Book and Gift Shop in Midtown Marketplace. If you're here in Grand Forks, that's like that little. It's like the old Kmart mall. Bunch of little tiny stalls and
Kiosks,
shops. And,
kinda?
and one of them is a little bookshop, and it's Abigail's Book and Gift Shop. It's really
I
cute,
feel
really
like it
small.
should have the word emporium behind it.
It really should. It's really, really cute. And she has, she had like a little bookmark thing there that has her like Libro FM, which we've mentioned here before. And so I hadn't signed up with Libro before. And this, because I wanted to find a more local one. And so I saw hers there. And so I signed up for her thing. And I was able to get audiobooks through there. And it's just really cute. They're really good, like, good condition modern books. There's a lot like that were on my list that were there, so I think I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Cool.
And find more books there.
Podcast book.
Yeah.
Book field trip maybe one day.
Michelle had sent me an event that was happening at the other book, the Silver Dawn
yes.
bookstore. We didn't make it because we were cleaning the house and doing a bunch of
Yeah.
other things. But
Which is also in the Kmart mall, just in the actual like mall part,
Yeah.
not the
Check
Midtown
that out.
Market.
So we
I
have
need to go check them both
two little options there
Yeah.
in the same spot. So
And then my other recommendation is All True, not our hospital here.
we were both like,
I know, I heard that too, but I was listening to a podcast and Kyle Rudolph, former Minnesota Viking, was being interviewed, and he has a charity called All True, ALLTROO, All True. And he pairs with celebrities to have these like really cool experiences. Like right now, they're called rallies, is what they're called. You can put in like $10 to this rally. You get like 40 entries to go see like meet Sidney Crosby, 2 like ice side tickets for like a Penguins game, and they have like a Baker Mayfield one. They've had ones for like UFC if that's what you're into. Like they have a whole bunch of experiences. Josh Duhamel has done it before.
Cool.
And so what it is Kyle Rudolph will like have these rallies. The celebrities have a charity more than likely, and then all the money that from that rally goes to that celebrity's charity, or most of it anyways goes to
That's
that
very
celebrity
cool.
charity.
Yeah.
And so if that's something you want to look at or like look into, I highly recommend it. It sounded really, really cool just the way he was describing it. And they have support all kinds of charities. There's children's charities, animals, veterans, like a whole bunch of really cool, interesting charities. So yeah, All True, ALLTROO, Kyle Rudolph charity. Really, really cool.
cool.
Mom.
All right. Mine is a website, and it's the website Tiny Buddha. And they just have lots of fun things like quotes and little inspiring thoughts in blog posts and things. So, like, for example, under fun and inspiring is this quote or this poem. Be too much, be extra is what it's called. Live large, smile big, laugh hard. Celebrate your damn self. Open your heart, express your emotions. Use your words, giggle, dance, soak in the sun, splash in the waves, breathe deep, and love your damn life. You only get one.
I love that.
Cute.
So they have lots of things like that. So Tiny Buddha.
That's
is
awesome.
what it's called.
Buddha.
Correct.
That's so cool.
And then I have one last one. If with Halloween coming up, you're looking for a good movie to watch, and like me, you don't want
Misery.
the scary horror movies.
Misery, The Shining.
I would recommend
Salem's Lot.
Murder in Venice, which is a Agatha Christie
Haunting in Venice?
Haunting in Venice. Yes, thank you.
Yes, you're good.
Haunting in Venice with
Very good.
Poirot, and it's very good. And
I want to see it.
It has Tina Fey in it.
It does, and she's awesome.
She is.
She's incredible in it. She's
Yes.
funny, and she's
I love
good.
Tina Fey.
And it has some supernatural vibes, supernatural feel, but then
But that's what makes
it's Agatha.
it's an Agatha,
It's
yeah.
Agatha, so
So
and
is
that's what
Poison.
makes
Going
like
to
Poirot
be-
mad is he's like, this isn't real.
yeah, there's going to be a
funny.
rational explanation. When I watched
Yeah.
it, I watched it with John, who had not read books by Agatha Christie, and I kept saying, that's not really what it is. There's going to be a reason. Just wait. Somebody's doing this.
How funny would it be if there was like an alternate ending where there was like, it's a ghost, and you're like, no! And it's like,
It
just
is
kidding.
not.
So that is my recommendation. So
I like the ending of it a lot. With
I do
his...
too.
Don't
I
spoilers!
need to watch
I
it
haven't seen
again.
it yet.
No, I'm not. It's just
Ooh,
I
you
like
should
the
watch
ending.
it.
With
Okay. We
Poirot.
can watch that movie night. We'll start with The Shining,
No.
and then we'll do your movie, Haunting in Venice.
Yep.
So you have to be there.
No.
And
I
then
can watch it on my own.
and
Thank
then
you.
we'll pull a Misery and handcuff you to the couch. So you have to
I'm never
watch
coming back here again.
Misery.
I can sleep through it. I'm really good at sleeping at movies.
That's true.
yeah.
All right. Kaylin, you got a social shout out for us?
Yeah, so we've been a little bit quiet. It's been a busy stretch, I feel like. Instagram, paperback_perspectives, X, paperback_pod, TikTok, paperback.pod, YouTube, paperback perspectives, email, paperbackperspectives@gmail.com. So if you have any experience with Stephen King books, anything you want to give for like a Halloween recommendation, or just want to chat with us in general, you can find us on all of those.
All right, which brings us to our thank yous. So thanks, as always, to everyone who listens and takes time to say something or share something, because
It's
it's so
awesome.
fun to
Truly
hear
means
that.
a lot.
Yes. Thanks, as always, to our super producer and we have new lights
Lighting
and new
coordinator.
effects from Sam, who also had a birthday this week. So happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Sam.
And thanks to everybody else that has contributed and helped out. Lauren wasn't here this week, but she always helps us out with things on the side and background
And
things.
bookmark making.
Bookmarks
John, who
and coffee mug
listens
making.
to my rants on things like horror books. And,
You never have to do it again, okay?
okay.
Except you're going to have to do it.
All right. Well, until the next chapter.
Until the next chapter.
Until the next chapter.
This is Paperback Perspectives. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween!
Spooky.